I mean, face it, you probably enacted a little democracy on your own, unofficially. I mean, imagine, have you ever gone or tried to coordinate going to a movie with 6 or 7 people? And of course, does everybody agree on the movie you want to go to? No. So you all, blah, 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 and you try and get consensus, okay, and that never works, you know. And then what ultimately happens?
You go see Harry Potter.
Again. In costume. No, huh?
The majority of people that haven't seen certain movies.
Right, and so generally it goes majority rules, and the people who are in the minority will say, well, I like you guys so much, I'll come along anyway, or whatever, okay? So that's kind of like democracy in action, majority rules, okay, voting, cute, you know, and that's all it works. But why do we not have direct democracy nowadays? Why not? I mean, we have the technology where we could do it, I mean, because what would direct democracy entail?
Give it a power.
Well, more than that, though.
You actually have to study the issues.
Okay. Remember when we talked about the initiatives and people said, oh my God, I could barely understand the initiatives when we go to vote. Not that many of you all vote anyway. Okay. Was this the class that only had 7 voters? I can't remember. Okay. This was half. Oh, that's right. You are politically active or liars. I can't remember which. Okay. Or politically lying activists. I don't know. Anyway, which would make you eligible for Congress. So anyway, but no, the trick is that imagine we talk about how in the initiative process, it's really easy that you don't even know what you're voting for, right? And let's face it, you only vote on initiatives once almost every 2 years, and there's only like 8 or 10 of them. Now imagine if instead that for every city, county, state, and federal law that was ever proposed, you had to read, do homework on it, and vote it up or down. Maybe you have like a little TiVo remote, thumbs up, thumbs down, okay? And you're voting on, say, 8 to 10 laws a day, or 20 laws a day. Could you really do that and be educated about them? Could you even really do that easily in your life? No, okay? So laws might get passed, but they probably wouldn't be reviewed very well, and it'd be very anarchistic and chaotic. The truth is, when it gets too big, democracy seems to kind of fall apart as a pure system. So then we have a republic which was based off of the Roman system, okay? And in a republic, citizens elect a representative. And that kind of, it's like specialized, right? You specialize somebody whose job is to deal with this shit, okay? And of course, then we have regular elections, which is kind of like their job performance review. And if we don't like their job review, what do?
Vote for someone else.
Vote for somebody else, okay? If we do a Donald Trump and we fire them, okay? And so that's sort of the republic. So obviously we have a lot of republic models. We also have weird hybrid systems because like the way we vote for the president, who's a representative of the people, we don't really vote for him. We vote for representatives who then vote for the representative. So it's like a republic, which is like recursive, okay? Which, if you don't know what that means, you can look it up, okay? Anyway, what are we? We're a recursive republic, you know? What did you say? A recursive republic. Say that again. I already did. Anyway, never mind. It's like an Inception joke. Just go with me, okay? Pretend you understood it. Anyway, so the idea is, bam, okay. In the Republic, we do very well. But obviously, we mix both these systems together. Now, quickly note, okay, so we've defined what these are, and we're not pure at either of these. Out of curiosity, what economic system goes with these two? What economic system is required to go with these two? Capitalism. Okay, that's a good idea, except remember in an earlier lecture, when did capitalism start? Who created the idea of capitalism? Who wrote it up? From an earlier lecture. Okay, Adam Smith, who writes it in Wealth of Nations. Do you remember the year? That's probably hard. Independence. 1776, okay. Greece and Rome, a little bit earlier, okay. So in reality, if you take a look at it, these systems were around over 1,000 years before capitalism, okay. Capitalism was the new kid on the block. Democracy and republic only define a political system, how it is you make decisions politically. They don't define anything economically, despite our confusion about it. One last note, democracy and republic. Democracy only became a primary word to describe our political system post-World War I. It was Woodrow Wilson who popularizes the use of democracy as a system. Now, Jackson had used this idea of Jacksonian democracy, but even then the word was considered somewhat, like the word democracy was like Americans gone wild, okay? The masses, we can't really trust the masses, those crazy masses of people, they need some help. And in fact, what was the word that we preferred to use was republic. For years, we used the phrase republic. I mean, consider, when you look at Lincoln's speeches, he talks about preserving the Union and the Republic, okay? The Pledge of Allegiance. Where's the word democracy in the pledge? What do we pledge allegiance to? The flag and to the republic for which it stands. Okay? So it's an interesting side note. Again, the use of the words has changed. Nowadays, we use democracy, and it's almost as if using the word republic is wrong. But it's just interesting that we've changed the language on it. Okay? So that being said, then what is socialism and communism? Okay, first of all, socialism and communism are both political but also economic systems. In fact, they're primarily economic systems with a political dimension. And socialism and communism, we talked about earlier in our economic theories of industrial capitalism, how it is that there were people who supported industrial capitalism, whether it was Andrew Carnegie's Gospel of Wealth, where it was social Darwinism, Frank Ward's criticism of it, but saying that collective economic behavior was just as important as competitive economic behavior. We had people like Horatio Alger in the American Success Story, right? But all these worked within the frame of capitalism. But some people didn't. Some people felt capitalism was doomed to fail. Okay, it was going to be a massive, epic fail. And the two individuals with little Russian accents, what are the two famous people who write a very famous book? Karl Marx, as the name everybody knows, and the one they forget, Marx and sounds like Engels. Okay, it's just Engels. Okay, there. Okay, very good. Laura Ingalls, she was Little House on the Prairie, and she wrote the Communist Manifesto. How weird. No, okay, anyway. So the Communist Manifesto was written as a reaction to industrial capitalism. And what it argued is that industrial capitalism would fail. It said that the poor workers, and the workers are, what was the fancy name that Marx gave to those guys?
Proletariat.
The proletariat, those are the schmoes, okay, would get tired of supporting a small group of the very rich elites. And who are the rich elites? No, they had a fancy name for them. Close. The bourgeoisie, because it always sounds snootier when we say it in the French. And so those bourgeoisie, they just sucking up the laugh of all the working class people. Okay. Ironically, this is the exact opposite. If you studied Ayn Rand and objectivism, she flips it. Instead, she says a very small number of rich people, the bourgeoisie, are being sucked dry by all the leechy poor people. So there that is. See also the game BioShock. Anyway, sorry, if you ever played BioShock, it's a cool game. Anyway, moving around. So the comment, guys, we have 10 minutes left. Do not pack your origami shit up yet, okay? I can't leave, neither can you, okay? So what is communism? Well, according to them, the proletariat would get pissed off at the bourgeoisie and would eventually overthrow the bourgeoisie and create a new system. And this is what communism was, according to their definition. So their definition of communism as a system was, it was an economic system where there was no private property, and that, along with no private property, that people would work to the best of their abilities and then would receive back resources based on their needs, not on their wants, desires, or merits. Okay, you would work to the best of your ability and you would receive back based on your needs, not on your wants, desires, or merits. People would often say this means equality. This is not exactly true, because let's say, for example, that you had a family of 5 and I'm single. Would we get back exactly the same housing as a result? No, because your need would be greater as somebody who's a family of 5 versus me being single. Okay?
Plus, who decides what your needs are?
Well, that is a different question, now, isn't it? Okay. Now,